Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the League One Transfer Roundup. In today's video, we're going to summarise all of the business completed over the last 7 days. If you do go on to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 160 likes on today's episode? And don't forget to get your thoughts down in the comment section down below. What do you believe has been the best bit of business completed over the last 7 days? And how would you assess your club's transfer window so far? AFC Wimbledon completed a couple of deals. Firstly, they brought in Delano McCoy-Splat, a 20-year-old central midfielder from Fulham's under-21s on a free transfer. Can't really say I know much about him apart from the fact he's got Splat in his name, so hopefully he'll do a few splatting goals next season. That's the best I could come up with. They also did bring in goalkeeper Nathan Bishop. He's now 25 years of age. He's come in on an undisclosed fee from Sunderland, and I think that is a really good signing for the Wombles. Obviously, they were very successful last season with Owen Goodman in goal. They needed to get somebody of a similar sort of standard. You were never going to be able to replace him like for like because of how good that he was. We'll get onto Goodman as well later on in today's video. But Bishop obviously had a loan spell with Mansfield Town around 3 or 4 seasons ago and was very good then in League Two. Since then, hasn't really kicked on much in his career, but I could see him certainly doing very well at Wimbledon, and they haven't had any further departures. In terms of Barnsley, they have done some transfer business. They brought in Reyes Cleary, a 21-year-old striker from West Brom's under-21s for an undisclosed fee. Again, don't really know too much about him. You'd hope that he's not going to come in and be that Stephen Humphries replacement. There's obviously a lot of rumours of Josh Koroma at this moment in time, but having watched 45 minutes of Stephen Humphries, I'm convinced that man is going to win the Ballon d'Or this season. Goodness me, he is an absolute joke. And also, they have not had, they have had a departure of Barnsley, haven't they? Barry Cotter, a 26-year-old right back, has joined Notts County on loan for the rest of the campaign. I think there's a good player in Cotter, but now at 26, he just doesn't really deliver enough end product for Barnsley, who I don't really see at this moment in time making any real charge for the playoffs. But if they do want to have any type of success next season, I didn't really see Barry Cotter being a regular starter. In terms of Blackpool, I don't believe they've done any further business in terms of incomings, and obviously we saw Richard O'Donnell, who I think was released by the club, made a step up into the Championship with Derby County. He's now 36 years of age. In terms of Bolton Wanderers, they've brought in Thierry Gale, a 23-year-old left winger from Rapid Vienna. According to Transfermarkt, that was a €700,000 fee, so around £500,000, maybe a bit more than that. So clearly a lot of money spent on there. Again, I've never even really heard of Rapid Vienna, never mind Thierry Gale, so I can't really comment all too much on him, and we have already covered some of the other business. But they did the other day announce a Mario Cozier-Duberry, a 20-year-old right winger on loan from Brighton for the full campaign. Again, not really too clued up on that addition. Loan signings, they're very hit and miss. They either seem to do very well or just don't really play much football. You never really get an in-between with League One and League Two loans. They have had a departure as well. 27-year-old goalkeeper Luke Southwood has joined Bristol Rovers for an undisclosed fee. I remember his days at Cheltenham Town. He looked like an absolute world beater in League One. Now obviously he's made the step back down into League Two. I think that's a really, really good signing for Bristol Rovers, but his time at Bolton Wanderers just didn't really work out. Bradford City, I don't think we've done any further transfer business since the last time that we spoke, so we'll move on to Burton Albion, who have done some business. They've recently announced the addition of JJ McKinnon. He obviously spent the second half of last season on loan with the Brewers. He's now going to spend the full campaign on loan with them this season. Obviously, he's signed from a fellow League One side who, if you look at the form since Gary Bowyer went in at Burton were actually a better side than Lincoln from that period. So it'll be interesting to see who finishes above who come at the end of next campaign. But I do believe that is a very smart addition for Burton. They did terminate the contract of Elliot Watt as well. I think he still had another year or two left to run on his deal. He signed up for Motherwell over in Scotland. That was just a transfer which never really worked out, and I don't believe there has been any other departures. In terms of Cardiff City, we have seen a few departures here. Aaron Ramsey, obviously 34-year-old central midfielder, has made a move over to Mexico with Yunnan Pumas on a free transfer. Callum O'Dowda as well, 30-year-old left winger, has joined Ferencváros for an undisclosed fee over in Hungary, and that is all of the business so far. So just a fair few outgoings for Cardiff. They're still yet to bring anybody in through the door. In terms of Doncaster Rovers, I don't believe they've made any further transfer business in terms of incomings, but we did see a departure. Bobby Faulkner has joined League Two side Harrogate Town on loan for the full campaign. 20 years of age, centre back. I think that's a smart move for him, really. Exeter City, I don't believe have brought anybody in through the door, and I don't think we've seen any further departures as well. In terms of Huddersfield Town, it's hard to remember which business I've already told you about and haven't. I think the only one that I've not told you about is Owen Goodman, a 21-year-old goalkeeper who's joined on loan from Crystal Palace. I think that's a really, really good signing. Obviously kept the most amount of clean sheets in League Two last season and was clearly one of the best performing goalkeepers in the entire division. So I do think that is a really smart pickup from Huddersfield. You think that their potential promotion rival in Bolton Wanderers have signed somebody of Teddy Sharman Lowe's standard, who I'm not entirely convinced by. And Huddersfield, obviously as a Bradford fan, it does pay me to say, have gone out and brought the standard of Owen Goodman in. It kind of sums up their transfer business so far. They've pretty much every signing they've made has been a real standout statement signing. Not a single signing over the age of 33, only one over the age of 30 as well. And I do see Huddersfield, unfortunately, probably winning the league at this moment in time. They haven't had any further departures. In terms of Leyton Orient, they recently announced the return of Idris El Mazouni, a 24-year-old central midfielder from Oxford United, for an undisclosed fee. His time with the Yellows just didn't really work out, didn't play enough football really, and we saw from his 2 loan spells with Leyton Orient in League Two and then the first season in League One, he was an absolute joke under Richie Wellens. So I think that is a top recruit. And they also brought in Michael Craig, a 22-year-old holding midfielder from Reading, obviously fellow League One side, for an undisclosed fee. Can't really say I know too much about him, but as we saw, Ethan Galbraith did make the step up into the Championship for around £1.5 million. Obviously 24 years of age, central midfielder, can also operate at right back as well. He has joined Swansea City. I think we mentioned Dan Aggie as well in the last episode, so we'll move on to Lincoln City, who are still yet to do any further transfer business. We'll obviously know about JJ McCain, who has joined fellow League One side Burton Albion on loan for the rest of the campaign. In terms of Luton Town, they've brought in 17-year-old midfielder Jake Richards on a free transfer from Exeter City. Don't really know much about him, only 17 years of age. I'm not so sure how much football he's really going to play next season, but that could prove to be one for the future. I mean, even in 5 years' time, he's still only going to be 22. In terms of departures, though, we have seen a few from Luton. Thelo Asgard, a 23-year-old attacking midfielder, has joined Rangers. I think only joined Luton in the winter transfer window, which obviously just went by. Now, obviously, he's making a step over to Scotland to play, I presume, Champions League football. Obviously, he's gone there for around £3.5 million. I can only assume that is some kind of profit, and obviously I think he's too good to be playing in League One, so it'd be interesting to see how he does get on over in Scotland. Aribin Peppel obviously spent last season on loan with Chesterfield, the second half of the campaign, I do believe. 22-year-old striker. He has joined Plymouth Argyle for around £300,000 according to Transfermarkt. Bit of an interesting signing, really. I mean, he has signed for a fellow League One side, so I probably shouldn't have told you his destination straight away. But in terms of that signing as a whole, I think he's a good player. If he can work on his finishing, I think he'll be a top striker, but I think his finishing massively does let him down, and it is a little bit of a problem. And also goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski, obviously now 32 years of age, joined Charlton for an undisclosed fee. I think that was around £1.5 million as well, so decent sale really for Luton. And Amari Bell as well, he joined Charlton on a free transfer, 31 years of age, left back now, and there's been a lot of sales at Luton. We need to see some real statement signings coming in soon, though. Mansfield Town, I don't think, have done any further transfer business, whether incomings or outgoings. In terms of Northampton Town, there's a lot for me to quickly skim through here, but I don't think they've brought anybody in through the door, and we haven't seen any further departures as well. In terms of Peterborough United, they obviously brought in a 27-year-old goalkeeper Alex Bass on an undisclosed fee from Notts County. The rumoured fee is around £300,000. Obviously, former Bradford City goalkeeper 3 or 4 seasons ago now. Did very well with Notts County last campaign. Decent League Two goalkeeper, not the best in the division last season, and Peter have gone and splashed 300 grand on a 27-year-old. I mean, it could be worse. He's still a decent keeper. He's good with the ball at his feet. He is prone to the odd mistake every now and again. The fact Peterborough have spent over £1 million on Alex Bass and Brandon Kayler, they're both very good League 2 players. Are they ready to make that step up into League 1? Obviously, there's the potential, as always with any Peterborough signing, to get better and to improve. But considering they were only 5 points off relegation last season, they've lost their 4 best players. They're probably going to go on and lose some more as well. I think Peterborough are really going to be in trouble. They're building a very good team for 5 years' time. It's about now, though, and when you factor in them points that I've just made there, just 5 points above the drop zone, and you've lost Kwame Poku, amongst many more, I'm just not seeing safety this season for Peterborough. They have had a couple of departures as well. EMMANUEL Fernandez, or Manny Fernandez, as he does go by more often or not, a 23-year-old centre-back, has joined Rangers for around £2.5 million. No idea how they've managed to get that fee for him. He's just not very good from what I've seen of Fernandez last campaign. I think he switches off far too often, and he's just not a great defender. I don't see him and his time at Rangers really working out. And Malik Mothersill, a 21-year-old striker, winger, got a load of goal contributions last season, but he's been sold for around £1.5 million to a fellow League One side. I'm not going to spoil that at this moment in time. There has been some big transfer business going through over the last 7 days or so, and I don't believe there has been any further business. Obviously, Kwame Poku has joined QPR. I'm not actually sure if we mentioned it in the last episode, but obviously Peterborough will get a couple million quid in compensation. In terms of Plymouth Argyle, we did speak about Arabim Pepple, who's come in from Luton. Decent play if you can start with finishing, because I do believe that could prove to be a good signing in the long term. In terms of departures, we have seen a few from Plymouth. Maxim Tayloverov, apologies, a 25-year-old Ukrainian centre-back, has joined Stoke City for around £1.5 million. It says €2 million here on Transfermarkt, so I'm not entirely sure on the conversion, but obviously he did well. I believe signed in January, scored against Man City, and I think he's probably too good to be playing in League One, in all honesty. In terms of further departures, Ben Waine joined a fellow League One side, and we also saw a couple of loan departures as well. Callum Wright, a 25-year-old attacking midfielder, has joined a fellow League One side as well, on loan for this campaign. In terms of Port Vale, they are the destination of Ben Waine, a 24-year-old striker. He's come in on a free transfer from Plymouth, as I did just mention there. Didn't really play that much at Mansfield last campaign. I think will probably be the backup to Lawrence Align next season, and they could probably do a little bit worse than him. At 24, there's still time for him to develop and get better. And they also brought in Marco Morosi. I don't think we mentioned that in the last episode, and I think we mentioned it on the League 2 roundup. A 31-year-old goalkeeper. He's come in on a free transfer from Cambridge. I remember him from his Coventry and I think Doncaster days. Not really too sure how good he is though at this moment in time, and Port Vale haven't had any further departures. Reading FC brought in 24-year-old left-back Matty Jacob. He's come in on a free transfer from Hull City. Again, they're bringing in that sort of age profile that you want your club to sign, between 23 and 28. All their signings so far do fit that category, and hopefully for them that will work out as a smart signing. And as we previously mentioned, Michael Craig, a 22-year-old defensive midfielder, has joined Leyton Orient for an undisclosed fee. In terms of Rotherham United, they're still yet to do any further transfer business. They've not been very active in here so far, but they did confirm the termination of the contract of Johnson Clark-Harris. Very interesting to know where his destination will end up, and would you take him at your side as well? Let me know down below. Stevenage FC haven't brought anybody else in through the door, and I don't believe they've had any further departures. I'm pretty sure we mentioned Aaron Presley in the last episode. In terms of Stockport County, they are the destination of Malik Mothersill. At just 21 years of age, there's still loads of growth and potential in him. I think nearly 30 goal contributions last season. Does blow very hot, but does also blow very cold as well at times, so it'll be interesting to see how he does get on at Stockport. Obviously, they had to bring him in because TANTO or Isaac OLAOFE, I'm not 100% sure what he does go by. I think it's TANTO OLAOFE, a 25-year-old striker, has joined Charlton Athletic for around £1.5 million. And I think if it were for here and now, I think Malik Mothersill, for the same sort of price, could prove to be a better player. I think OLAOFE's finishing really does let him down, but I think there's a good play in both of these. I think it's just smart business from both clubs. Charlton are getting a decent striker in OLAOFE. I think he'll suit the Charlton style of play, and I think Stockport are getting a good young attacking talent in there. Obviously not the standard of a Louis Barry. Willie plays a striker, Willie plays a winger. He can do both. Peterborough fans, let me know down below, where does he play better out of them 2 positions? But I think that is some good business really from Stockport. In terms of Wigan Athletic, they obviously brought in Callum Wright, a 25-year-old attacking midfielder on loan from Plymouth Argyle. I think Wigan have signed well so far. You know, they've brought in a lot of firepower. We saw last season they kind of struggled for goals, but defensively were pretty solid, largely because of how good Sam Tickle was last campaign. So they're bringing in a lot of attacking options. They've brought in Fraser Murray, Christian Seri, Dara Costello, Paul Mullin, Callum Wright. All 5 of them can play in them attacking positions. So Wigan fans, let me know down below, what would be your starting attack? I'm not sure on your formation, if it's a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, what would be your starting attack going into this upcoming campaign? In terms of Wycombe Wanderers, I don't believe they've brought anybody else in through the door, and I don't think they've seen any further departures as well. So that does summarise all of the League One business completed over the last 7 days. Now that we're into pre-season, I wouldn't anticipate that there'll be much more transfer business to be done. I think most clubs will only have 2 or 3 more deals to make, unless you're somebody like a Cardiff who've still not signed anybody and we're nearly in the middle of July. Thank you all for watching though. Please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 160 likes as I mentioned at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What do you believe has been the best bit of business completed over the last 7 days? And also, how would you assess your club's transfer business so far? Thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.